Hey guys, welcome to a new video where we're going to show you a different way of using OpenAI embeddings instead of the actions inside of the platform itself, which will be embedding match and completions. Those two actions often give some issues, especially when models update from OpenAI's end, and sometimes we need to revert back or the scoring needs to be changed every single time. So we're going to provide you with a different solution where you can still use the embedding system to store your business data and FAQs and stuff like that, and still use it inside of your chatbots effectively. So as you can see, I just set up a few embeddings as a test, and we have a few different kinds of types. As you can see, the types are billing, account, and technical, right? So if we scroll down, then you will also see two technicals. In total, we have 7 embeddings. Now, the way to use this is not through the native actions, but we're going to use this kind of setup. And this kind of setup, I start with a question note, but you can also set this as a default reply and directly go towards the chat completion itself. That's totally up to you. But for demo purposes, I have a question note. Then the next step is to first categorize the user's question into pre-default topics, which match the types of embeddings, right? So in current, we have 3 different kinds of topics or types, which will be billing, account, and technical. So if we take a look inside the chat completion, it's really simple. There you will see the user just asked a question and you are to match the question with one of the following topics: billing, account, or technical. Only match it with one of the mentioned topics and do not make up your own. If no topics fit, then output the match topic as other. When you match a topic, only output the following JSON payload and nothing else. And this is really simple to do. You start with an open curly bracket, double quotations, then you have matched underscore topic, closing quotations, then we have this in between, and then opening quotations again, and then between brackets, normal brackets, we have insert matched topic, which will then insert the matched topic dynamically. We're going to close with the quotes again, sorry, and then last but not least, we're going to close with the curly brackets. You can just pause the video and you can basically map this over. I already tested a few times and I needed to set up a guideline, because if I'm going to remove this and a user is asking a question like this, I cannot log into my account. It states invalid password, but I know I have the correct one. So if I'm going to test it now, then we can see that the topic matched will not be the correct one, because now we have technical. But if we take a look at the types, you can actually see that the password issue is matched under the type account, right? So instead of needing to rely on embedding scoring and score matching, you can basically do it much easier by just putting in a simple guideline inside the chat completion, and that is basically the following. If a user is having login issues, then match the topic as account. And now, if we're going to retest this, you will see I have the correct one, and this will be done every single time. And it doesn't matter what the scoring is, it upholds the system message guideline that you put in place, right? So you're not relying on any kind of scoring that might be a little bit off when models change or setups change. You have a valid system message that is being upheld by the chat completion itself, which is much more stable and consistent. If we take a look at the rest of the chat completion, we have a lost text input system field, and I always put in a dot. So in any case that if it is a new user and somehow ends up inside of this flow, we still have a dot that processes the chat completion, because the messages input section always need to have some kind of value. So if the lost text input does not have any value, the chat completion will not continue. I'm setting the remember history to no. You can put it to yes, that's totally up to you. For determining the topic based on the question, it's not really needed and might provide the wrong context again. So I just leave it off. The model will be GPT-4o Mini, the most affordable model at this moment in time of recording at least. Maximum tokens will be 200 based on the system message and a last text input. I don't think you will cross that amount of tokens. The temperature is set to 0.4 and the rest is pretty much set to default. We can also have this as JSON, by the way. Okay, so we can just say test a request, and then we will have, because we are outputting a JSON payload anyway, we're not requesting any text, so we might as well just insert the response format as JSON as well. And it does not change the outcome because we still have the preferred outcome. Just going to save this as a JSON field. As you can see, I call it matched underscore embedding underscore topic. And then we press save, and then we are good to go for this step. Now the next step is to have a series of condition groups currently, and this is actually needed because inside the external request we are missing a certain feature, because otherwise we would not need this condition in any regards. I will show you what I mean with that in just a few moments, but for now we need those conditions in place. And basically what these conditions do is we're going to check the value from the chat completion and match it with one of the topics or types from the OpenAI embeddings. And we do that as following. We go with a custom input. From the custom input, we're going with a matched embedding topic, right? That was the JSON field that we used. And then we're just going with $ dot and then matched underscore topic. Going to save this, and then the first value will be technical. The other one, exact same setup, only the value will be changed to account. And then we will have billing. In your case, you might have much more different kinds of types, right? And also the fallback for other. I did not map the fallback because that is something that you can do in your own setup, and for this demo purpose it's not really needed. But the next step is, if it's technical, we're going to do an external request, because the native action of the platform is that you can fetch embeddings, but it is an embedding match, right? So it's based on an input, and we specifically do not want to use the embed matching because the scoring might be off due to models or setup changes and stuff like that. So instead we're going to use the UChat API. I know it seems really, really scary whenever we are going to call an API, but it is really, really simple. So if we're going to take a look at the API itself, you will go with a GET request, right? So you're just going to grab GET. Then you can pause the video and just have this URL. Basically, it's https www.uchat.com.au/API/OpenAI, and then a midline and then embeddings. We don't have any headers, we don't have any body. The only thing that we have is an authorization with the type of bearer token. So make sure that you select that and then put in your workspace token. I put it inside of a bot field, and as test value, I have it here. If you don't know where to find your API token or create one, you can go towards the top right menu, go towards API keys, and then you can create your token. And afterwards, you can basically paste it into this specific section of authorization. Now, on the response type, I currently have data pre-processing on, but let's have it off and let's see what this brings, right? So if I'm going to test this, I will receive all the embeddings that I currently have. So I had 7, if not mistaken. So let's take a look. If we go all the way down, we have a total of 7 embeddings. So if we're going to take a look here, we will see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? But we don't want to fetch all the embeddings. We only want to fetch based on the specific type. In this case, it was technical, right? So we only want actually to get the bottom 2, because those are the technical types: platform freezes and flow types. So how do we do that? We do that with data pre-processing. And again, you can pause the video or just copy and paste this script, which we will put down in the video description. But basically this allows to filter through the response that you get back. So the entire response that we have here, we can now filter based on type. And this script basically does that. And again, you don't need to know any coding skills. You can just pause the video and copy it over as is, or just copy and paste it from the video description. But what this does is we are going to assign a new parameter, so a new field, a new custom field as it were, to fetch the payload. And this is basically seen as the payload. So everything that we get back here is the payload, right? And then we will filter based on data. So if we take a look here, the data that we need to return is under the data section, right? So we have the data section, and here we have all the embeddings. At the end, we also have a link section and meta section, but we don't need all that. So what we are going to do, we're going to filter based on the payload, then the data section. And then if we take a look at the next step, we're going to use the function filter. And inside the filter, we're going to go with the item type of technical. So it's item.type because we want to filter based on the type, right? If we want to filter based on the heading, then the data preprocessing would be item.heading. In this case, it's type. And then we have 3 equal signs, and then the type topic as technical between quotations. And this will allow us, if we're going to test it again, to only fetch the technical ones. And we had 2, we only fetched 2. And now we can easily save just these 2 embeddings because those are the most relevant, matched by the AI itself as possible solution for the user's question. We're going to save this into a JSON field AI embeddings results, and then going to save that. And we're going to do the same for all the other ones. So for account, if we're going to take a look here, the only thing that changed is inside the response, we're having the item type set to account. And for the other one, we have it set to billing. So in the response, not technical, not account, we have set it to billing, right? And if we're going to test this, then we're only getting the billing results, which are 3 here. And if we're going to take a look here, we only have 3 billing at the top as well. So we're only going to fetch the relevant embeddings. So I hope that makes sense. Then the next step, the final step actually, is basically just going with the chat completion and just answering the user's question based on the business information that we just fetched as embeddings. So that looks like following. Inside, again, a really short chat completion system message. You can assign this as a variable, of course. I just have some dummy data. You are chat, the user asks a question, and you are to reply using the below business information and guidelines for responses. So the business information is the fetch data, in this case, the filtered embeddings, right? And then we have some additional guidelines. So reply in first person, tone of voice is friendly, only use above business data to reply to the user's question. If no relevant information is found, explain to the user as such and ask if they would like to be connected to our support team. Don't copy the business information, but create your own unique replies based on the available data, matching the tone of voice. So for example, we have here, my screen is just stuck and we have some sample data. We fetched the available business data here, right? Platform freezes. And then if we go all the way down, first, before I'm going to test it, let me go through the rest of the chat completion. So we have the last text input with a dot, no remember history. We are going with the model GPT-4o mini. Again, remember history, by the way, is optional. If you have a preference for that, you can turn it on. The model is the 4o mini. Max tokens is 1000, temperature is 0.4, and then the rest remains the same. Going to test this request, then we will get a reply, basically matching something like this, right? So let's take a look. Oh no, it sounds like you're experiencing a freeze on your screen. This can happen sometimes if your browser memory gets a bit overloaded. I recommend refreshing the page to see if that helps. It usually resets the memory and can get things moving again. Also, if you're working with flows, try to keep them under 50 nodes for better loading speeds. Let me know if that works for you. And if we take a look at the information, right? So for platform freezes, it uses this information and provides it in a really conversational way, right? So that is basically how this chat completion works. We're just going to go and map this response again. So we're going with messages, sorry, choices, message, and then content. We're going to map this, and then we're going to save this. And then we're going to output that towards the user. So let's do a test. Let's see if this works. Let's go with the preview. And let's go with, for example, let's ask something about two-factor authentication, right? Hi, what do you need help with? I want to remove two-factor authentication from my account. So let's see under which section this falls. It falls under the account section. So let's see. I understand that you want to remove two-factor authentication from your account. To do that, you will need to submit a ticket and our team will manually assist you with the process. If you need help with that, just let me know. So that corresponds with the information that we have here, right? So that is something that is correct. Let's ask another question. Let's say, what payment messages, what payment methods, methods do you have? So let's see if it basically corrects or matches the correct topic. Hey there, right now we only support payment by credit card. If you have any other questions or need assistance, feel free to ask. And again, it's matching the correct specific section because billing is then matched, payment methods, and then we have this reply. And again, it's provided in a really conversational way. And this is a much more consistent and reliable way of providing and using embedding, basically skipping the embed scoring because we are going to let AI models do the scoring for us based on chat completions, which have been proven more consistent, more stable, and a much better setup in general. So you can basically skip all the native actions for embed matching, embed match and completions. This is a more reliable way. Later on, when the platform also supports the use of variables in data pre-processing, then we don't have any need for these condition groups, and we can just have one basically going from a chat completion directly towards this specific API call, and then inside the response we will be able to input that variable directly. But for now we have those condition groups that we need to use until we have that option inside the external requests. I hope this helps you into setting up a better and more stable and consistent section of embeddings, working with embeddings and using them and not with the embed actions inside of the native actions of the platform, but instead use chat completions to first categorize your topics of the user's question into presets of based on the types that you have inside of the section here, right? Under billings or under the types. And then from there, you can basically segment the user and fetch the proper embeddings correctly with an external request and a really, really small script for data pre-processing. If you have any questions, do let us know. We'll try to help you out as soon as possible. For now, have a great day. Have a great weekend as we're recording this on Friday, and we will talk to you really, really soon.